Hello and welcome to the ComiXpiracy episode 549 for the week of Monday, June 20th, 2022. My name is Ryan Higgins. Who's here?
Brock Sager.
With me this week.
and Kevin's still taking the Charlie's he needs to get back on here.
Charlie has been like a no-show. I haven't heard from Charlie in months.
I need to be third so Charlie can say "and Charlie." It doesn't feel right.
He'll make it back. He's been busy with work and his other podcast, and that's all right. Toby, though. I told Toby he's going to be on for our Sandman episodes. I'm committing him to like 13 straight episodes or something. So we'll see. We'll see how that works.
We know this is going to fail miserably.
Yeah, well, we'll be here to talk about Sandman. Not sure if Toby will, but he wants to.
I'm about halfway through the Audible season 2.
Yeah, I still haven't got to it. I have a bunch of podcasts I listen to. I have a bunch of other stuff that I listen to on my commute, and the Audible is just like not the first thing I listen to. I kind of save those for like longer trips. So,
now I have a question.
Maybe
Kevin,
that'll be.
You use Audible on a regular basis?
No,
only with like a couple things here and there.
Yep.
Okay. Do you notice does it cut out for you every 15 minutes?
No.
Okay, so there's something.
I listened to it straight there and back to LA when I drove a couple months ago. No problem at all.
All right, maybe I need to update it or something because it goes out every 15 minutes, and
Weird.
I'll be like on my nothing's wrong with my internet, or I'll be walking and I'm perfectly fine on whatever network it is, and then it's like, nope, I'm gonna die.
Are you just downloading? I mean, you download the books.
Yeah, no, but I don't know why it's glitching.
Yeah, you should be able to listen to it even offline.
Ryan, I think you're double audio.
Oh, yes, I am. Hey, that's okay. The audience will hear it. Hey.
Oh God, it sounds normal now.
Hey, normal. Anyway,
so first off, we have to talk.
Sandman.
You were saddened by the news, Ryan, last week. The Boston Celtics lost.
Oh, I only care about the Celtics when they're playing the Warriors, so I can rag on Toby when they lose, and they didn't. And the Warriors won, so Toby's very, very happy. I don't care enough about the Celtics to be mad or angry. Happy for Toby.
Well, Toby's not on because he's drunk at the parade.
I thought I was going to ask if Toby was at the parade today. I'm
probably
sure
running into women or something. The Warriors seem to do that.
I messaged him. He did not message me back, so I'm assuming he's at the parade all day. Good. Not out of nowhere, but it's always kind of up in the air what I'm doing for the wonderful holiday known as San Diego Comic-Con.
I wouldn't call it a holiday.
And I did not plan to go this year, but a couple retailer meetings got scheduled, and as of just shy of a month from the convention, retailers still do not have tickets yet. So I've been told I am on the list, which is good. It's a little different than previous years, but I can get one ticket, so that's fine. But because this is the makeup year. Everyone with tickets in 2020 and 2020 and that rolled over to 2021 have now rolled over to 2022. So I've heard conflicting things about publishers being there. People are going to be there. Whether there's booths for them to be at is another question. Panels are happening, but it's very uncertain what company presence are going to be there at all. So it's Comic-Con's. This is going to be a very strange Comic-Con. I expect next year should be pretty normal.
But I think
I went to the special edition. You want to talk about a strange Comic-Con?
That's not Comic.
Don't.
Yeah.
Well, you apparently have gotten peer pressured into going to San Diego this year.
Well, not peer pressure, but this was going to be a year that was very much kind of like, are companies even going to be there? Like, is anything going to happen? And I can't go every year. It's just too much. But every couple of years, I like to go. I probably would have gone this year anyway, regardless of the pandemic. If it happened the last 2 years, I probably wouldn't have gone. So this is about the time I would have gone. But I was just like, I don't even think it's going to be a normal con. I don't know if I mean, God knows what's happening with Diamond. Their stuff has changed very dramatically since the last time, but they are still doing their retailer conference. So that's a reason to go. I unclear what Marvel and DC are doing, if anything, but they will have presence there. I think Boom is going to have a thing. Image usually does. I don't know what their plan is this year. I haven't heard, but so stuff is actually happening. If it was basically what Kevin went to, if it was just a bigger version of the special edition where it's retailers and Artist Alley, but that's kind of it, I would have probably not gone. But since there actually is going to be a publisher presence, I figure, this is about the time where I would go again.
Can I just say that I'm glad you will be there, so I don't have to narrate the whole convention after the fact with no help.
Yeah.
I need
Toby's
to go
still
one
a
of these
maybe.
years.
So
one of these years, somebody
it might
needs
be a
to...
Toby also. Yes.
Yeah.
Lane.
Yep.
Our friend Lane is also
Yeah. Well, so we all go with very different things.
Yes.
For me, it's work. I'm there with a lot of the retailer meetings. Lane and Toby are there for commissions and art, and Toby's there for toys. Kevin, you're there for autographs. Usually
press stuff.
Right. Yeah, Comic-Con's fun. It's just it's expensive. It's and the thing is, like, you can get so Brock, if you want to go, you have to get a con ID and get into the raffle. Like before, there was options for like, I could get like 5 tickets, like the back way, in the way distant past. Now we can't even do that. Like, it's the owner and you could probably, if I go and you went, you could probably, I think I could get you on as like the paid ticket.
Okay.
But even this year, I think it's just one.
Yeah.
I don't even think you could have gone this year.
Yeah, you said earlier, I think it's just one.
Yeah, because I think this year it's literally like the owner. I mean, you may be able to put like, the manager. But it's like you have to be like on the Diamond. Oh no, I know, but like you have to be like on the Diamond account. Like I had to put Leanne on. I had to like fill out paperwork for it. Like it's a thing.
Yeah, I know.
So when she went like 10 years ago or whatever, so yeah, it is. Oh God.
Well, if I can go 1 year like that would, and I can afford, that would be nice to go.
Yeah.
Because I've never been.
Yeah, I mean, I've only been a couple times.
But I mean, technically, in spirit, I am the owner. Because when people call asking for the owner and you answer, you always tell them Brock is not in.
You're the owner when Yelp calls or when the spam calls. Yeah, I know. Me and Kevin both did not go in on the hotel thing earlier because we just weren't sure what was going to happen. So we got, we're not next to the con or anything like that. We're pretty far out, but whatever, it's fine. You just Uber in, Uber out. It's not like it used to be. So. No, whatever, $15. Just better than paying like $1,800 to be in a hotel next to the convention center. That's about the price for right now for a room. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
That only works. Those ones right next to the convention center. Either you've got deep pockets or you've got like 4 roommates.
Yeah. Well, they have. I mean, they're not that expensive if you get in on the raffle, but like the open tickets were like, like $1,800 a night or something. Cause it's like the 3-bedroom suite or whatever. Like that's just, there's nothing you can do about that. I saw there were a couple like rent a house fits 16 people, $4,000. Like I saw,
come on, money bags. Why didn't you do it?
I saw a couple of those on hotels.com. I'm like, look, I don't need a mansion. I'm not renting a party mansion for Comic-Con.
It's for the furry after party.
Ryan,
party mansion.
I actually know some people this year who will be there with that situation you just described.
Oh, really? Yep. Doing like the multiple groups getting together.
It's going to be like an art collector's haven.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. Anyway, so the punchline of all of this is we'll have a Comic-Con review. In July. Yeah. If you're going to be down at Comic-Con, give us a heads up when we can. I'm sure I'll run into some people.
Do a podcast meetup.
I'm just going down Thursday. Come back Sunday night, so I'm not even getting. Toby and Lane in the past have like gone down like Tuesday or.
I'm doing that exact schedule you're doing.
Thursday.
Yeah, we'll have to. We might be on the same flight coming home, but we'll talk off air.
Maybe. Yeah, should be fun. I've been it's been my first major con since COVID. Yeah, because I did the toy show here, but that's the only convention I've done since 2019. So yeah, getting back in the thick of things. Yeah. Comic-Con. That's still like a month out. Just so I don't forget it, we got some news here. We're gonna get to all this stuff. Kevin, I did tease you. I'm gonna break my order, which I normally do stuff here. I'm gonna do a movie TV thing first, but I just wanted to get your live on the air opinion of this line.
Okay, hit me.
Aaron Taylor Johnson, who is going to be Kraven the Hunter in the upcoming Kraven movie that Sony is making. All right. You know Kraven the Hunter? I think you've heard of him. Pretty cool character, right?
Are you asking me this?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
Yes, I know Kraven the Hunter.
You know Kraven the Hunter. Okay. He is described in the upcoming movie as an animal lover and a protector of the natural world.
Huh?
As someone familiar with Kraven the Hunter.
So it's a new character.
I heard that. I was like, huh? That seemed to be the reply of most people. Like, hey, know who Kraven the Hunter is?
So he's hunting the hunters of endangered animals.
Oh, who hunts the hunters? Is that what's going on?
Yeah. Predators. Prey is coming out in August.
So we got Morbius the good guy. Now we got Kraven the good guy.
Does Venom count as a good guy?
I kind of.
All right.
Yeah,
so we've got a good guy Sinister Six.
Yeah, they're going to be called the nice six.
Yeah, the sweet six.
The sweet six. There you go. So yeah, look forward to that banger when that comes out.
Well, I know somebody on the show who will be there because he's got a streak going of seeing every one of these damn movies so far.
I'll go. Be the only one in the theater. Pay my $10.
I will go. I will go if he's wearing the complete comic accurate costume. I will go,
even if it's just for one scene.
No, I don't want that bullshit where Zemo puts the mask on for 10 seconds in the Falcon and Winter Soldier. He's got to be wearing that costume for the whole movie, and I will go.
No, see, in this one, he's only going to wear it in a montage of him changing into different outfits.
No, not good enough. I could just see that picture online. I want to see him in action.
Yeah, there's I don't know. Turning Kraven into Poison Ivy just feels like, sure, he hunts humans. He's a bounty hunter now. I mean, okay, but
what's that? What's that short story?
I just assume that's what this is becoming.
The most dangerous game.
The most dangerous game. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, the problem is without Spider-Man, you've lost the core of the Kraven character. So you have to kind of invent a new character because otherwise he's just literally a big game hunter.
Yep. And those don't really go over too well these days.
It'll be exciting if it's just 2 hours of him like shooting rhinos, lions, giraffes.
Not gonna be the most beloved movie of all time. Light week.
But we all know go ahead. No animals were harmed in the making of this movie.
Well, of course. Unrelated, but I will bring it up here only because of what you just said, Brock. I'll go slightly off. Although it might as well be a superhero movie, I will go slightly off topic here, just because we did see a movie last night. Kevin, you may have seen it. I don't know. RRR.
Have not watched it yet.
The Indian. It is not Bollywood. It is a different area of India. I don't. Tollywood, I think they call it. I believe the highest grossing Indian film of all time. It's pretty great. It's basically like a superhero team up movie, or it's half BVS, like half BVS and Civil War, half superhero team up movie. You know, you got to fight first, and then you fight the common enemy, right? I would recommend watching this over 2 to 3 nights. It's only 3 hours. I mean, 3 hours is long, but it's not Snyder Cut. It's not
only 3 hours.
But paced like a TV show. There's actually like I wouldn't say chapter breaks. Well, I would say chapter breaks, but there is sort of like, oh, that could be like the end of chapter 1, and then you kind of start up again, and you go like there's big flashbacks like after sequences happen. So like it's paced a little bit different than what you would think of as like an American movie. I think it would actually work a little bit better if you broke it up over a couple nights, because it does flow a little bit differently. But it is worth a watch. There's some great stuff in it.
This is on Netflix, right?
It's on Netflix. Yeah. So I mean, I think there is a limited theatrical run here, but it is it's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty fun. They're very fun characters. They're the bromance between these two guys, and then what happens after. It's pretty great. It's pretty great. It's a very, very refreshing movie. So some very funny scenes, and some just it's like an Indian wire fu movie, just completely over the top action. It's very good. So yeah, worth watching if you haven't seen it. But comic books. I have not used ComiXolgy in quite some time. They are continuing to fix the completely broken nature they've put themselves into after completely destroying the ComiXolgy app and adding to Amazon. To sum it up from a tweet here, we're working to get the app back to where it was before we broke it.
Yeah.
So in the coming weeks and months, the updates to ComiXolgy are basically putting everything back that they broke. So that could be, I mean, the last statement from ComiXolgy and update was on March 24th. We're now midway through June. So you may be looking at, closer to the end of the year before ComiXolgy is something in a usable state again. But there is an attempt to get back to 0 and then maybe build from it. I don't hate ComiXolgy. I don't hate the digital platforms. Marvel Unlimited went through some funk when it got updated, but it's fine. It's usable. DC Unlimited or DC Universe, I basically just copied Marvel, so it's if you know one, you know the rest. I have not ventured back into ComiXolgy since it broke, but I've read the tales, so it's yeah. How they screwed this up at such a colossal level is pretty amazing, and the fact that it's
well, when did they mess it up?
Earlier this year.
Was it like earlier March, this year?
February? Yeah, and that's when they pull. So I believe the old version was still available on Android. It was only updated on iOS, and now it is mandatory on both.
I use it on Kindle, and it is not the old version.
Kindle, I believe, was the first to get updated because it's Amazon,
and it's
right?
terrible.
So, yeah, and I believe iOS was also updated right away, and Amazon and Android was updated more recent, but it is now forced. So I had like an old Fire tablet that I had the Marvel Unlimited app on, and I eventually got to the point where I couldn't use it anymore because it couldn't support the newer operating system. So it was fine because I needed a new tablet anyway. The one I had was pretty old. But when I wasn't able to upload or upgrade to the new version, so I was like, oh, I can't even add like new books to this. Like this completely is non-functioning for any new content added to Marvel Unlimited. So I would assume if you somehow have like, because you can lock in like, I have an app, I have a podcast app that I really like, and they overhauled the entire thing, and I hate the overhaul. So I just kept the original version. I locked it down so it wouldn't upgrade or update, and it works fine ever since. I don't know if that's the case with ComiXolgy. I would guess that if you have the old version and it's not updated, it's probably not working anymore. I would think so, because Amazon doesn't seem like they will leave that let it function when it's not updated. So we'll see. We'll see if ComiXolgy can fix this.
Now, as a general principle, does one deserve praise and credit for fixing a mess that one oneself has made?
No.
That's what I mean. Yeah. I mean, it's you're getting back to the base level of fine, but not, it's an old app. It's an old style. They probably should have modernized this thing a while ago. It's going on 10 years old. But whatever works, that's okay. Like if it's just fine, whatever. If it's not broken, don't fix it, I guess. But yeah, no. I assume they have to have lost millions of dollars in revenue from this, because I definitely have heard from multiple customers, not just multiple, many customers who've said they've stopped using it or have given up trying to, or use it occasionally, but they don't even look at it anymore. If there was any doubt that a la carte digital purchases were not going to destroy the comic industry, it is pretty much definitive proof, because if it was going to, people would suffer through it.
Yep.
And just, I bet this pushed more people towards Marvel Unlimited and DC Universe than it did back to physical comics.
And the individual apps stores for other companies?
I mean, there really aren't any. They were powered by ComiXolgy. Marvel and DC really are the only ones. You could get Dark Horse through some random one, I think.
No, wasn't Dark Horse on ComiXolgy?
Well, they all were, right?
That was their big push, was like, look, we have creator-owned specific content, right?
Well, everything is on ComiXolgy, but most companies were on something else. Marvel and DC had their own. They used to be powered by ComiXolgy, but I don't believe that's the case anymore. Because they would have like the Marvel app, and then they had on ComiXolgy, they had Marvel. They were the same thing, but it was like two different accounts. But that's for like, paying $3.99 for a digital comic. I think, most people are probably fine waiting the 3 to 6 months and just getting it included in their cost, for no additional purchase price, with the Marvel Unlimited app and comics and the DC Universe or DC Unlimited. Image had their own thing. I think you could buy files directly from them.
Yeah.
And so other companies have done this. There's a number of other ways, but obviously ComiXolgy was, just convenient.
Well, ComiXolgy had those like Scott Snyder had his stuff going exclusively through that.
Right. So they had exclusives.
Like, all of that exclusive stuff like tanked. Right? Like who wants to read garbage?
Well, it's not that the books are garbage, it's that the service is garbage. So they had that happened right when all the ComiXolgy stuff switched around. It was around the same time. Yeah. So I'm sure that just destroyed sales on all those exclusives.
Yep.
Which is very unfortunate, but that's why you wait for the print edition.
I was reading this comic book article. What was this on Comic Book whatever? It's on
Comic Book whatever. My favorite website.
It's CB, like
comicbook.com.
Comicbook.com. Anyway, in it they specifically state here. It's let me see if where did it go? Shoot, I grabbed it and moved. So I moved to No, that's not where it was.
Great radio, Brock. What are you looking for?
I moved. Oh, here it goes. It won't support guided view yet, but we're working on that next. They're also excited about to be able to filter your library in the Kindle app to make it easier to hide all of your comics. And I'm like, huh? Well, hide them. Or alternatively, show all your comics. So I was like, oh, so you want to hide? And like, yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, this is just weird. This is just weird stuff with the
well, it's
what they did to it.
It's funny because it's like it wasn't broke. Why'd you like?
They changed it because they wanted to integrate a ComiXolgy with Amazon, the way they do with Kindle and the way they do with Audible and everything. So it's all one service. The problem is, and this is what I've said for a long time, Penguin Random House learned this the hard way. It's not the same thing. Comic books and books are not the same thing. They are extremely different products with extremely different audiences with different expectations. There's huge organizational differences. There's series don't function the same way. Naming conventions. just what people are looking for, novels by different authors with the same characters is limited to like Star Trek and Forgotten Realm novels. Like, these are just things that don't really exist in the book world not to the same degree that they do for comics. So the entire way ComiXolgy functioned was for the comic book audience. Amazon, if you've ever tried to look up single issues on Amazon, it sucks ass. Yeah. Like, there's no organization the way there is in ComiXolgy, where it's filtered by series and in chronological order or numerical order. It's just a horrible, horrible way to look at comic books. Whatever. You want to buy some original graphic novels, or you want to buy graphic novels on Amazon, it's much easier, but it's just not the way it works for single issue comics. So yeah, if you've when these upgrades start to hit, or what do you call it when you're going back to where you were?
They're releasing a beta version of it.
Back to normal grades. When that stuff hits, I'll be curious how if it fixes and actually improves anything, because that's, you obviously want improvements from the base level. Mm-hmm. They're way down. They got to get back up to zero.
The funniest part was they got rid of being able to buy things in the app, and it's like, how, like, don't you want to make, like,
well, I assume a lot of that has to do with if there's limits to buying stuff in the app, that's all Apple taking their cut, and there's a lot of funky stuff with the way Apple takes money and Android takes money for purchases through the Google Store and everything. So yeah, it's not good. Like, ComiXolgy needs to figure something out. Hopefully they do. I don't hate ComiXolgy. It's good.
No,
it's good.
ComiXolgy doesn't have to figure anything out. Amazon just needs to leave shit alone.
Well, I think those people are probably all long gone by this point. So, whoever built it, that's gone. So they just have to fix what they have. Got another auction. I love looking at these art auctions.
No, you gotta do the original auction.
I hate looking at these art auctions, but I love looking at these art auctions because I know, like, we've gone from maybe I can possibly sort of one day think about affording one to, we are just so beyond anyone being able to buy this stuff that it's just fun to look at the numbers. It is not a record for a comic page or cover, but we have one of the highest. I think that was one of the Frank Frazetta covers, right? Wasn't that the one that was like the highest?
Wasn't that an EC cover? I can't remember now.
Yeah, I think it was a Frazetta cover that is the highest paid for a comic book cover. I'm pretty sure. But we have a definitely a record for Batman and Frank Miller, and I would say this must be a record for the superhero audience, superhero genre. $2.4 million paid for the original cover of Dark Knight Returns. That is the classic lightning bolt on the blue background with the shadowed Batman jumping, through the lightning bolt. Top 5 comic image of all time, probably, right? I mean, is there a more definitive? How many more? Spider-Man swinging, Superman throwing the car. I mean, I'd say this is more. I think this is a more well-known cover than Detective 27.
So here are 2 conversations about that sale. I'll give you the short version. One,
it's heritage. It's a private sale.
One is I can't believe how low it is, because people got excited after that ridiculous Secret Wars price. But then the flip side is I can't believe how high that is, because Frank Miller did that Batman silhouette, and that's it. The rest of it is Lynn Varley. The lightning bolt, the blue. So the Miller art on that cover is a Batman shadow, and that's it.
It is the importance of the cover, not the detail of the cover.
Yes. Right, so the 2 conversations since that sale have been, I can't believe how high that went, or I can't believe how low that went.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it is the most iconic piece of Batman artwork ever created. What would beat it? I think it is. I don't think the Golden Age stuff stands up.
No.
I think Action Comics #1 is the Superman.
Maybe
age, right?
like
I think
what? Maybe like the Joker 5-Way Revenge cover.
Yeah. I mean, that might go for more money.
I mean, that went for less 3 years ago.
But now,
now,
that might go for more money now. But this is one of, if not the most well-known comic covers, not just Batman covers, comic covers of all time. So 2.4. Again, that might be a drop in the bucket 10 years from now. That might be who knows? The next few years may be crazy, but just ridiculous amounts of.
So I looked
comic art.
I looked up the top one. It was Frank Frazzetta's Eerie 23, the Egyptian
Eerie,
King.
that was it. Eerie, yeah.
Yeah, it sold for $5.4 million in May of 2019.
And that's because it's Frazetta. Yeah. I mean, how often does Frazetta
number
originals go up?
Was Death Dealer #6 cover.
That's also Frazetta.
And that's Frazetta, and for roughly almost 1.8.
Right.
But so that's number 1 and 2. So this puts it as the new number 2. So
Frank Frazetta exists. He did comic work. He exists outside of the comic industry, right?
Well, he did a lot of books and like other art stuff, and
I mean, probably the most famous fantasy artist of all time. Frazetta is his own thing outside of the comic industry. He just happened to do some work in comic books. This is comic book ass comic book world, and we now have a number 1. This is the highest selling cover art for an American superhero comic. What did the Secret Wars one go for? That didn't go for this, did it?
Secret Wars
8.
Yeah, what did that go for?
God, what was that?
I thought we talked about it, but I don't think it. I don't think it went for 2.4. Did it?
That was a ridiculous price, though.
I'll look.
Give me a second.
Other stuff sold. A lot of Frank Miller art. Page from Watchmen went for $55,000. Page from Sandman went for $84,000. A couple pages from Killing Joke went for over $100,000.
Secret Wars is $3.3 million.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, I must have misread that. Oh, okay. So this is number 2 then. It's not bad. That's Secret Wars page.
That Secret Wars page is the biggest head scratcher because it's not the first appearance of that costume. That's what's so baffling about it.
It's a very popular comic. It's a very popular cover.
No, it wasn't the cover. It was a page.
It's the page.
Oh, the page went for that. Yeah. Oh, I do remember this now. Yeah, it's not the cover; it's the interior page with the black costumes.
They separate out into art by cover art and interior art. So it's highest paid for cover art and highest paid for interior art, original art. Yeah, and that was back in January of this year for the Secret Wars 8.
The 3-page gatefold cover for Batman 619, of course, the final issue of Batman Hush by Jim Lee, did sell for just over $500,000. A Mike Mignola piece went for $228 million. That's the cover for Batman.
$228 million?
Sorry, 228,000.
We're announcing a new record, folks, right here on the podcast.
228,000. Sorry, I said $500,000, then 228 million. I meant 228,000. That's the cover for Death of the Robin, Death in the Family, where Robin's all bloody on the front. So.
I wish our audience can see how you described him all bloody on the front.
So six figure for art is not even a story anymore. So low to mid 6-figure is just the price now for these things, not record breaking.
Well, this is also
200,000. Sure.
Heritage aside, this is also the final day. The day we're recording this is the final day for bids on that Jim Lee X-Men DPS.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
Huh? Have they said what the?
No one has said yet.
Has no one said, "Oh, this is what I put in,"
Nope.
or "This is what I've heard"? No rumors.
Nope. So the minimum buy-in for those not familiar is $500K. That's the minimum offer, I should say, not buy-in.
So the 3-piece Hush went for $500.
Yeah, but this is X-Men.
The 4-piece X-Men I mean, I could see someone dropping $1 million on it.
It just depends on how many bidders there are,
Just be like, I got it.
I mean, it's not an auction. This is a private sale with people.
Right.
People,
right. But 500 was the
500 is your minimum offer.
Well, that may change things, right? This 3-piece Batman Modern ended, and his Hush piece, or the X-Men piece is, 10 years prior, 12 years, almost 20 years prior. So,
we'll see.
Yeah. Yep. We'll know next podcast. Light news this week. A couple questions, a couple things to talk about. Not a whole ton here, but we do have. Before we get, I have one little couple little movie things to talk about here. But we cannot forget, of course, we will have a discussion here about the wonderful. Talking about Batman, the wonderful Batman artist, and also other stuff. Tim Sale. Last week we did discuss that he had been sick. He did actually pass away during the course of the week. So this was, I don't know that anyone knew that this was happening or what was going on. We don't know, at least as of right now, no causes have been announced. So we don't know what he died of. But he did pass away at the age of 66, which is very sad. Between George Perez, Neil Adams, and now Tim Sale, if you believe in threes, that death goes in threes, here's your third. So fingers crossed, this is it for a while, because I don't want any more comic people dying off anytime soon. Tim Sale, I think I wrote something kind of like this on Twitter. I think maybe we said something even like this the other week. He was so unique at the time he came around. Like when he was doing Challengers with Jeff Loeb and a few other books, like his art was, it was good, but it was just kind of, just, I don't want to say normal comic art, but it was more traditional superhero stuff. By the time he gets to Long Halloween, and even the
4 seasons in the Marvel colors.
Well, right, but even before that, when he's doing the Legend of the Dark Knight specials, you could see his art go through a pretty dramatic change to being just extremely unique and really against the grain of what comics were doing at the time, when Jim Lee and Rob Liefeld and Image and all these styles were kind of the big thing. Sale's art got very angular and dark and painterly and just so unique. Mignola's got to be the closest, right? I mean, it's got to be a huge influence on him, I would assume, based on his art at that time. I have to assume like Mignola's a big influence on him. But it's just, the fact that they would, he definitely feels like an artist's artist, right? Like, I don't know that the average person going to the store is like, put me down for every Tim Sale variant cover. Like, that's just not his type of art. But the fact that people responded so well to Long Halloween and then the color books from Marvel, with Jeff Loeb, it's not only the quality of the writing, but the fact that his art style was able to win over people that I don't think would have looked at his book a second time if it was on just a random issue of nothing, right? He is such a unique artist, and it is like he has not been doing a lot in recent years. There was that Long Halloween special, so he's done a couple things. He did some covers on Batman, but like
he was doing covers, the variant covers for Batman during Rebirth for a while.
Yeah, a couple of years, but he was not doing like regular work. So, his art style shifted a little bit. But yeah, go back and very like Mignola, drawing in the shadows, drawing in the dark, in the blackness, right? So like, the black page he would draw in on. It's not, I mean, that's the way. Very much in the negative, drawing in the negative, which is very cool. That's very difficult to do. He's got such a cool style. And Long Halloween will always go down as one of the biggest Batman books of all time. It's real sad loss. 66 is not that old. It's not that long from now. So It's
closer to us than it used to be.
It's much closer to us than it used to be.
Unfortunately, I never got Tim in my DC book. Because every time I saw him at multiple cons, but somehow the fates were against me, because every time Tim had a practice at his tables where once he started drawing someone's sketch, he didn't stop to sign or talk or anything. Like, they'd basically hang up a closed shingle, even though he was sitting right there. You couldn't approach him or interact with him until there'd be a sign that would say something like sketching until 10 or whatever, 11. And then I just was never able to line up the timing to be there at the right time. So I probably had that book in my hand, I want to say 3 or 4 different shows, and every one he was either at a panel or closed for business. And they just would not budge. Like, once he started on a piece, he would not stop it. And that's okay. No judgment. I'm just saying, I'm sorry that it never worked out now.
Yeah. I mean, commitment to the, probably took the amount of requests he wanted to do and just, committed to it. And it's like, oh, well, so much for everyone else. I feel like Superman for all seasons too. I feel like I keep kind of leaving that out of the.
Well, there's also Catwoman in Rome.
Yeah, the whole long Halloween thing. But not that I forgot about for all seasons. Just I think Long Halloween just.
You know what one a lot of people I think forget about is that Darwin Cook one.
Which one?
Kryptonite, is it called? The one that Darwin Cook wrote and Tim Sale drew.
Oh, the miniseries. Yeah. It was like it was like a prestige format.
Yeah,
right? I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
It's funny. I saw a number of people. I put this in my post, and I saw a number of people put the same thing. One of the best pages that he ever did. Funny enough, there's not a superhero in it. It's the page in Daredevil Yellow with battling Jack Murdock when he's in the ring, right? And it's just like it's this very like who am I thinking of? Who am I trying to say here? Just. You know what's from Kevin? You know that page I'm talking about?
I do, but
he's super tall in the panel.
Yeah.
Almost Ramita-like, just huge. Murdoch's boxer's just huge in the panel. It's just lots of the character movements of everyone below the ring. It's a awesome page. Here,
we'll describe it on the radio.
I know this is also great radio. I'll scroll through and I'll link you to it when I find it. Very, very sad though. Very sad. He was.
Well, I mean, what you're making me think of is going back. This is not Tim Sale, but while you're looking it up, another item at Heritage was a page from Daredevil #1 with Battle and Jack Murdoch and DD in costume. 200K it sold for.
Oof.
And that's one of those where you kind of go, that's a intro of a major Marvel character from the Silver Age. Like, what's the value of that compared to a Secret Wars 8?
Yeah.
Oh, the one where his hands up in the ring, is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in that one, but it's awesome.
Yep. Fantastic page. It's always sad. Don't know what else to say. We'll sure other people other things come out, or do some tribute or art book or something. Oh, speaking of tribute, that George Perez image, the kind of Jam tribute the DC did, is actually in the print books now. So if you didn't get a copy of that, most of the comics from this past month have had it. So that what all the artists doing, like the one
page spread,
yeah, that's been all the print books this month. So, all right, we got two. One quick, one might actually be a little bit longer. Two things to talk about here, movie TV wise, based in the old world of comic books. Nothing really to say about this other than it got announced. Another Disney Plus show is in the works, and that is Wonder Man.
Here is our show mascot for the episode. Some good radio. Oh,
nice.
Look at that.
Nice Wonder Man action figure. Love it in the red jacket, and
it's a bust.
It's a bust.
Oh, it's the bust.
It's the Bowen bust.
The Bowen
with
bust,
the greatest Wonder Man costume ever. I'll hear no arguments.
The red. You don't like the electric costume.
From the
modern
Perez,
day.
from the Boucher Perez. I'm not saying I dislike it. I'm saying this is the greatest costume, and I will hear no arguments.
The red jacket, red glasses.
Yep.
Hey, we got a number. Don't we have a number 1 Wonder Man in the shop with the poster?
Yeah, for the 90 series. Yeah. Now, who played him? There was like who the hell played Wonder Man? He was in one of the movies. There's like a poster of him or something.
Oh, that's
right. It's Nathan Fillion.
Yeah, that's right.
No, this is a case. Nathan Fillion gets talked about for a billion roles in comic book movies just because of his nature and just, I don't know, his look and just his, very, I feel like him and Alan Tudyk, but Alan Tudyk gets all the roles. Like, that dude's been in a million comic shows or comic stuff. But Nathan Fillion as Wonder Man would be fantastic. There was talk of it kind of being like a kind of Hollywood parody superhero show. So, I think Fillion would be a very good choice for that. And again, a Wonder Man series is a series that should be funny. Not all his story arcs have been comedic, but they have drifted that way more in the last number of decades. Kind of the way She-Hulk. She-Hulk's early stuff was pretty normal, but they have a lot of fun with the character now. So, Wonder Man is a show that should be a bit on the lighter side. So I will look for that when it happens. But that's so many years out. That's way in the future. But we'll get here soon enough. Now there was talk like we're gonna know, quote unquote, a lot more about the next big phase and the next big story arc for Marvel this summer. So I'm assuming that's Thor and D23 related. So we'll kind of know what the next big thing is. When the hell is Loki season 2?
They started filming it.
Yeah, have they even put a date on that
No.
yet? What's Ant-Man? Did Ant-Man get pushed back to next year too? Like, everything's moved around. Got a couple questions I want to get to, but before we get to that, we do have an anniversary to celebrate. Seen a lot of posts about this over the weekend, and of course, we must all take a few minutes to discuss one of my personal favorite comic movies of all time, Batman Returns. Turned 30 years old this past week. God, I love Batman Returns.
This Batman Returns is so fucking awesome.
Who does, Kevin? You feel like a person that saw Batman Returns, likes it, but you're just like, nah, it's just not as good.
I love, not as good as what? The first one?
As Batman.
Oh, I like it better than the first one. I love.
Do you really?
Yes.
I thought you didn't.
No, I do.
Oh,
because
look at that.
Michelle Pfeiffer rules the world in that movie.
Oh yeah, she's very good.
Really, I think we were talking about this in the store the other day. You're going to disagree with me, and that's fine. But I'll just say it and step off stage for you guys. As much as I love Michelle Pfeiffer and the Catwoman, is how much I dislike the Penguin. So the movie kind of washes out for me, like they kind of like matter and antimatter.
Oh, Danny DeVito, you're so wonderful. So my experience with Batman Returns probably paints a little picture of why I was maybe a little bit more into it than Batman. I was still very new to the world of comics when Batman came out. It really was one of the first comic things I ever did. I was not reading comic books yet. I knew the shows. I knew the movies. I kind of knew what was going on. And I'm sure I've said this in the podcast before, but I have a very distinct memory of telling my parents, like, I don't want to go see the Batman movie because it's DC and I only like Marvel. And I knew that from the Fantastic Four cartoon and getting like the Marvel trading cards and stuff like that. I hadn't even really read a comic book yet at this point. Of course, I love the Batman. And so by the time Batman Returns came out, I was a little bit older and a little bit like I at this point, I had seen Beetlejuice. I was in the Tim Burton, when was Batman Returns was 92. What was Beetlejuice?
88.
88.
Yeah.
So I had seen. Wow, man. See, I saw Beetlejuice in the theater, so I saw Beetlejuice before I saw Batman. Maybe I didn't realize it was the same guy. But I had seen. I think I had a better understanding of what I was getting into. I was just a little bit older, and the movie worked a little. I liked it a little bit better than the original Batman. It was a little goofier and lighter and sillier, so maybe it wasn't quite as dark. And as a kid, it probably spoke to, I mean, it's dark as hell, but there's a circus, and
right, yeah,
it is a little. The first one's a little slower and definitely more serious. The second one is not. It's not the Schumacher movies, but it is not quite the same kind of heaviness level that the first one is. Yeah, Catwoman is great. Oh, and I do love Penguin. And to me, Batman Returns is just like endlessly quotable. There's so many great lines in it, and it's really funny lines. And,
to this day, I stayed at
Christopher Walken.
Great. Yep.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Well, to this day, I stayed. It has one of the best scenes of conflict ever written in a movie, and that's when they're at the masquerade ball and they're dancing under the mistletoe.
Oh yeah,
and they they have that moment where they're like, "Do we need to start fighting now?" And it has that awesome song playing in the background.
Face to face, but using the Banshees. Yeah, one of my favorites.
So it's like, oh,
I would respect that much more later. Yeah. In a couple years later, when I really got into Susie, yeah, I would be like, oh shit, that's a song from Batman. I know this song.
But like, I was watching Miss Marvel last night with my roommate, and she has that neon sign in her room that says hello, and I'm like, is that a DC or Batman Returns reference? Like, anytime I see neon
hell
pink
here.
hello, yeah. I'm like, hell here. Like, I'm like,
yeah.
Yep.
So, there's such great, yeah, and this was, you took elements from the comics and you took elements from the '60s show that, the first movie didn't really have. Yeah. All the penguins walking around with missiles on their back and stuff. I mean, that is straight out of the '60s show and straight out of the comics. So it was but it was serious and dark enough that it didn't feel like what the Schumacher movies were. What time? I feel like a lot of people have kind of come around on those movies. Brock, I know, still hates Batman. Batman
and
Batman,
Robin,
and Batman and Robin.
I refuse. I will go
Brock,
to
I thought you hadn't seen it.
No, I have never seen that movie, and I refuse. I will never watch that movie ever.
It's far from perfect, but it is
garbage. Trash.
It is a fun movie. Nope. It is a fun movie. It's a fun movie.
I'll watch.
Wait a minute.
I'll watch whatever the Rose one was. Batman Forever.
Oh,
Kiss from a Rose, man. I'll watch that over and over again.
Batman Forever, up and down, left and right. I think Batman Forever is a lot of fun.
Agreed. So wait a minute, Ryan. Which is your favorite of that era of Batman?
So there are two. I think Batman is a better movie. Batman Returns is my favorite. But I acknowledge I think Batman is a better movie. But Batman Returns speaks more to me. I think it's a more fun movie. There's things I like about it better. I think Batman is hands down one of the best comic book movies ever made. I can like something. I can acknowledge something is better, but like something else more. Right? I think that's where I stand with Batman and Batman Returns. I mean, I think it's just quality of movie wise. I think it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the way I like it, it's 2, 1, 3, 4. It's very much in order for the most part.
Well, I think Batman Returns, the blend of the different comic book essences and the essence of like the '60s stuff and like the Dark Knight stuff and like everything kind of combines in that with Burton's style. Whereas in the Batman, you kind of get this, we're making a dark movie about Batman, but it's more comic book accurate than anything that's ever come before it. So like, and it's got, Jack Nicholson is the Joker, so there's a level there. But
well, the criticism of Batman Returns is that Batman's a guest star in his own movie.
Right. Yeah. Right.
But part of it is like I actually enjoy that because it's like I like seeing the development of Catwoman and
I think that's basically every comic movie past the origin one, right?
It's more focused on like the newer characters coming in than the character that we've seen before.
Right. And I even feel like, man, I think you'd have to do some timestamps here, but I think there's more Bruce Wayne in Batman than Batman, right?
Oh, probably, yeah.
In the first one? Yeah, there has to be. I think Bruce Wayne's more prominent in more scenes.
Oh, well, he's more crazy. Let's get crazy.
But I mean, this is taking nothing away from. This is not commenting on any of the actors. Okay, so don't get your Michael Keaton pitchforks and torches out. This is not about the actors. To me, the best, most interesting Batman of all of those movies is Batman Forever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying I like Val Kilmer the best. I'm saying like on the page, that to me is the best Batman. So if I could get a version where I combine that Batman with Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman, boom, bring it.
Well,
is it because he could move his neck around?
It's not. No, I don't mean visually. I'm talking about only character based.
Yeah.
And I even think, again, I'd probably want to go back and look at how much actual on-screen time they are. But I feel like, Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, Batman, he's in as Batman. He's really not Bruce Wayne all that often in either of those movies.
Well, it's because no offense to Val or George, they didn't pull off the Bruce as well as they pulled off the Bat.
I think. But I don't think comment on Bruce George. Wayne in the Batch. Honestly, I think they all three of them take certain elements of what Bruce Wayne either is or pretends to be, and does a pretty decent job with them.
But George Clooney has admitted that he apologizes for Batman and Robin.
But he shouldn't because the problem is not him.
Oh, it's not him.
No, George Clooney too. Like, I think he's an excellent, or in a different movie would be an excellent Bruce Wayne. They casted these people because they're really Bruce Wayne in real life. Right? It's like, you can kind of make, hopefully you make them Batman, but like they have to be Playboy millionaire, and a lot of big Hollywood guys can pull that off pretty well. So it's funny because, obviously before my time, but I have from customers and reading magazines at the time and interviews, and customers who were older than me that were very much there. People hated Michael Keaton as Batman, as Bruce Wayne. They're like, this comedian dude? Like, what? Like, what the hell is? There's no way this guy's going to be a Bruce Wayne or Batman. But he did the bumbling. Like, he nailed the bumbling Bruce Wayne. I think the best of anyone by far. Like that version of Bruce Wayne.
He did bumbling, brooding, like crazy.
Yeah,
like,
he never was the suave, sexy Bruce Wayne. No. But that wasn't the character they were going for at that point. But the stumbles over his words, kind of looks like a doofus Bruce Wayne that we do get in the comics from time to time. Nailed it, absolutely nailed it. The way he would switch in both Talking to the Joker and Max Schreck in both the first and the second movie. I thought he pulled the Bruce Wayne parts off wonderfully. So all the Bruce Wayne stuff, I never had a problem with that. So Batman Returns, good movie.
It's a holiday movie for me. I love watching it during Christmas.
Bruce Wayne, why you dressed up like the Batman? Oh God, so good.
I mean, like just like the scene with Oswald Cobblepot, like coming down and like biting that guy's nose, and like the scene with the cat and the bird. It's just,
yeah. Oh, there's so many great scenes in it. two villains is the most. Like, you got to stop at 2 villains. Just, you can do 2 villains. It can work. Yep. Just don't do more. No more than 2. Just, please. We got 2 villains.
You know what's funny is, Kevin, you know the Ryan too. Do you guys know the show Longmire?
Yes. Yeah.
The guy that played Longmire is actually in Batman Returns as one of the henchmen.
Cool. Yeah. Just like early.
Yeah, he was one of the henchmen. When I was rewatching it last, I was like, wait, that's Sheriff Longmire.
Nice. All right. A couple questions. Let me pull these up. Actually, hey, I got 2, and one of them was about Batman Returns. So there you go. Already took care of it. RS, we got your question all done.
What was the question? Do you like it?
Thoughts on Batman Returns, turning 30 years old. There you go. Perfect. Good time. We got your answered. Question for this week's podcast is from Kareem on Twitter. He says, is a show you want to return to, or is there a show you wanted to return to and was disappointed when it came back? I don't know what happened with Young Justice after season 2. I will 100%.
I'm glad Toby's not here because we would cue off on a swearing rant right now.
I would love to know, has Toby even watched any of Young Justice since it came back? So I loved Young Justice. The first 2 seasons, you could tell their budget ran out and they were having trouble at the end. The show kind of falls apart in the end of season 2. The animation gets really bad. I don't know what happened. And then it just ends at a cliffhanger and you're like, oh well, this show's over forever. When I heard they were going to bring it back, I was like, oh yeah, cool, awesome. I watched whatever it's called, season 3, Phantoms or something like that. I forget what it's called. I don't have the slightest idea what's going on. I apparently need to go back and rewatch those first 2 seasons because I had forgotten every single element of anything that happened in this show. I mean, there is not even an attempt to get you caught up with anything. It just goes right back in, like the next season just happened the next month, and I'm like, the fuck? Like, I don't remember any of this. So Young Justice is absolutely on my list of shows where I struggled to go back to because I just had no idea what was going on. So it is on my list of, let's go back, let's start at the beginning, let's watch the new seasons after. Because it was a fun show. It's not perfect. People love it. It's good. It's not perfect. It's no Justice League Unlimited. It's not Batman the Animated Series. It's fun. I like it a lot. But I was completely lost when it came back. So that's a good answer. Answer my question for me. Answered your own question for me. So, but it doesn't happen too often. That's the problem, I think.
Rock, you want to go?
Not a lot of shows. Not a lot of comic shows, at least. I mean, if you got a non-comic
show, the premise is you liked the first season, but then when it came back, you were disappointed.
Like a show that returned after being off the air. So, like, not comic wise, but Dexter.
Oh yeah, like I never finished.
Okay, right. So,
right,
yeah. So not just the next season. It's over and then returns. Yeah,
right. The new show was awesome. It was fantastic. It was such a return to form. It kind of did some stuff that I think maybe people assumed it would have done in the first show. And it's great. I don't need any more. They could just end it where it's over. Okay, fine. You sort of fixed your ending. Now we're done. Cool, done. Just move on. Don't ever come back to this. They probably will, but I don't know. But I don't need more Dexter. But it's very rare that shows that end to come back and get more seasons. Young Justice is a rare example in comics. I don't know that I have another real example.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of shows that I watched something
like Smallville. Like, those characters came back, right? I mean, Crisis brought back a few things and dealt with kind of a follow-up to Batman or to Superman Returns, and kind of followed up on Smallville, and characters will sort of come back, but yeah, I don't have a lot of
this is a stumper. It's hard.
Yeah, comic examples. I don't have too many more. Dexter is one of the few that I think actually really worked. A lot of times in shows try to like get a revival. Like X-Files is an absolute abomination. The new
that's a great example.
I never even watched the second season.
No,
the first season
either.
The first season was so bad.
Yeah.
No, yeah, the first season of the Return was so bad that I was just like, no, I can't.
Well, those movies, the second movie was horrible.
It's just totally worthless. Yeah. Twin Peaks, obviously, an example that came back. It was the greatest thing of all time. So the rare case where it works. Those are like the big ones in my mind. But we're definitely in a world now where old things are coming back regularly. Yeah, you get Star Trek. It's not really a continue. Well, Picard. I don't hate Picard. If you want to call Picard a continuation of Next Gen, I don't hate it. But I know people that think it is the absolute worst Star Trek that has ever been made, with nothing coming close in second place. I don't think so. I just sort of enjoyed it. It's fine.
So you're talking about trolls in the internet who just want to troll to get attention.
No. These are people I know in real life that thinks Picard is the worst thing that Star Trek has ever done by a substantial amount.
What?
I don't agree with that. I think it's perfectly fine, but I wasn't really.
I've never seen it, so I can't comment.
I think it's okay.
I've seen the first season. I enjoyed it.
I like the first season quite a bit. Second season, not as much, but I think it's fine. But people hate Picard.
Ryan, what was this is not a comic show, but what about Arrested Development?
I don't hate the return. So it's funny, we're actually watching it again. We kind of, me and Leanne sort of have a comedy and a drama. Our comedy right now is Arrested Development. So comedy is usually a rerun, or is a rewatch, and drama is usually new. So our comedy rewatch is Arrested Development. Our drama new is Succession, which is one of the greatest shows that's ever been on television.
Awesome.
Yeah. We're watching the remix of the return of season 4 and 5, because they did the weird original, and then they had the remix that's more like the episodes. It's not as strong, but I think it's very good. I know people don't agree with that. I mean, for Kids in the Hall is amazing. I've heard the new Kids in the Hall is like maybe even better than the original, which is hard to do. Well, that's on our list to watch soon. It's very good. Kids in the Hall, incredible.
Yeah, but as far as like a comic version for that question, it's hard.
Yeah, doesn't happen too
things
often.
Just kind of continue and they just end.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you could say Flash.
Obviously, they continue, but Brock, I thought of that too, but that hasn't gone away. I think he's asking about things that go away and then get revived.
And they get revived?
Yeah. Something you've wanted to return and was disappointed when it came back.
Because Flash was certainly qualified. You're just asking about Deadwood?
Deadwood.
Oh,
that show was fantastic. The movie was fucking trash. That movie sucked so fucking hard. Oh, and Westworld season 3.
But that's been going though. I thought of some of these and I just eliminate them.
I know, but I'm still on that kick. So
okay.
But yeah, like Deadwood, I didn't get into Deadwood until like oh god, years ago, long time after it'd been out. And then, like, the movie came out.
I heard Deadwood's really good.
It is really good, yeah.
Like, the show is amazing.
Yeah,
like,
really good.
It's up there with, Rome and Carnival. Like, really solid. Like, the funny thing, I haven't even finished Rome. I've only ever watched season 1 twice. I need to watch.
I never watched Rome. I heard it's good.
I need to watch the second.
Well,
season
with Deadwood, it got canceled after they finished their season, without them knowing it was getting canceled. So the movie is like the quote series finale that they never got to do.
But it sucked so hard because it wasn't really a series finale. It was like, hey, look, we're all back, ha 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 ha, and then the story's over, and it's like, yeah, this sucks.
Tough question though. That was a stumper.
Those are my answers. Yeah.
Well, we'll just have to wait until they bring, Flashback or Legends of Tomorrow back.
Is there a comic show that's been off the air you would be excited if you heard it's coming back? I'm thinking like Batman the Animated Series, maybe something like that.
We're gonna kind of get that, right? They're doing that new show that is.
Oh, that's right.
Kind of. It's supposed to be a continuation. Kind of. That's
what, Batman?
Close.
Yeah, I forgot about
that. Live action. Well, we might get new Daredevil. We're supposed to get new Daredevil.
I am both excited and extremely nervous.
All of us are going to agree. Swamp Thing.
Oh yeah,
Swamp Thing needs to come back.
Season. Swamp Thing was good.
It was good.
Yeah,
like
it was a fun season.
That needs to come back.
I got to give it to DC for not doing more Watchmen and not just shitting something out. Like they're sticking to their guns so far about it being a one and done.
Can you imagine?
I may have just cursed myself, but I don't need more if it's not, on the same level. I don't really need the Arrowverse stuff. When it's over, it's over. Like that's fine. I don't need like Lois and Clark. Sure, more Justice League Unlimited, of course, or Batman. But it's like, can you recapture that time? Like, I don't know. It's tough. I think you just do more, do something new, do your own thing.
They're doing that with the Gotham Knights.
We are gonna have a test very soon. X-Men the Animated Series. Remember that's coming back? That's going to be the first X-Men thing, the first new X-Men thing on Disney Plus, assuming that happens when it's supposed to happen. I expect it's going to be fucking awesome.
So, okay, the person who wrote in that question, I can't remember his name, but there is your test case is coming right around the bend.
Oh, yeah, I expect the X-Men Animated Series is going to be just absolute trash. But because the problem is you can't fake that level of quality, lack thereof, on purpose and have it still be charming. There is a charm to the early 90s and 80s and 70s and 60s cartoons that is you can't replicate ironically, right? They are what they are because of the limitations of the time, because of the limitations of budget, and because they just didn't know any better, right? In a lot of these situations, they just really didn't know any better.
They didn't know they were making memes at the time.
Oh, right. No, that's totally true. And we live in such a different world now where they're going to want to acknowledge more stuff. They're going to acknowledge
that all memes.
I mean, it might be, and it's bad when it's on purpose. What makes a meme great is the ironic usage of something, generally dumb, but something to make a joke. If you do that on purpose, it's not funny, right? If they're like, oh, look, we're going to have Wolverine sitting in a bed looking at a photo again, like it's not funny the second time because that's just not funny. This is my problem with things like Stranger Things and the new Ghostbusters movie. And when you try to recreate something, you just can't. It's impossible. You can't ever go back. So just do
Stranger
something
Things
new.
I like Stranger Things.
I mean, plenty of people do. I don't.
It's
that's a geek box conversation. We've already had it multiple times.
It's not capturing the complete essence of the 80s, but it's doing what it can.
Sure.
I don't know how grainy. I could not watch a grainy as shit Stranger Than Things show where I see the mall and all I'm having is flashbacks of every fucking mall on a tube TV. I'm like, no,
sure. I just mean, it's hard to go back.
Yeah.
It usually doesn't work. You have to do, we talked about Twin Peaks, right? We talked about Dexter. They took the thing, but moved it forward, but did something new that added to it, that changed it, that made it new for now, that used today's technology and knowledge and made something, I think most people agree, interesting and good.
Well, I mean, look at Star Wars, right? Like if you look at the evolution of Star Wars, the original movies were created during a certain time period, and then the prequels were created
too much
there was
too much looking back, and
there's
too much nostalgia
CG and all of that stuff going into those. But if you look at the last three and the subsequent things that we've gotten afterwards, the combination of practical effects and CG has gotten much better, but the practical effects and the combination of CG is kind of been perfected, right?
Yeah, I mean, they look much better. Yeah.
I know this is not allowed this is a Geekbox exclusive topic, but to tie it to comics, this is the thing I've quoted on this show before, the Julie Schwartz thing about archaeologists who only like to sift through the past and not tell new stories moving forward. That's Star Wars. It's stuck. It's stuck in a certain era, just mining and mining and mining and strip mining, and you're just going to leave this ground like fallow and burnt.
Well, Leanne asked me, she's like, what do you think of Obi-Wan? And I said, I like it. It's fine. It's just another thing. That's fine. Mandalorian feels new.
Yes.
Boba Fett did not.
Yeah.
Boba Fett just felt like, that's okay. It's a thing.
Like when I played the Star Wars Force Unleashed, right? Like, even though it was tied to Vader, it still felt new because we were separated from a lot of things. We were exploring new stuff in the mythos at the time, right?
Yeah.
Like, I liked Fallen Order because the story took us in a different. We weren't connected to all of that stuff per se. Reading like Legacy in the stuff that's done 125 years after, the Skywalker stuff. Like, I really enjoyed reading that stuff because it was new and it was in the world, but it was new stuff, right? Like,
yeah, no,
there's only 2 years in between certain movies, so there's almost so much time.
I don't want to get into Star Wars.
Right.
I don't want to get into Star Wars, but there's literally thousands and thousands of years of stories they could tell.
Yes.
That could just move away from this 30-year time period.
Exactly. And these 5 planets.
Please,
somebody fire up the signal flare, set my alarm, pull me out of cryo freeze when there's a Star Wars series or movies with no lightsabers, no Empire, no Jedi. Someone can say, may the Force be with you, the same way they'd say, hi, aloha. You know what I mean? But I don't want any of the rest of this stuff.
You almost had it.
Quick question.
Almost
Kevin,
counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. What?
Did you like Tarkin? The
novel?
Yes,
I did enjoy it, but just because you know why I enjoyed it? And Brock's referring to a novel called Tarkin that I just read, because that's one of my favorite Star Wars characters, all kidding aside.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to see a little more of that character. But after I was done, it was like eating an ice cream sundae where I go, I really enjoyed that, but wow, I just did exactly the thing I'm complaining about. And I just went back and took a nostalgia bath. I just wanted a little more of that character because I've only gotten him in one movie. That's all. Well,
Tarkin is the first book in the new canon after Disney bought Lucas films and all that. So that's the official first canon book. But I had read it and I had really enjoyed it back years ago. Funny enough, for your nostalgia, his ship is actually in the Poe Dameron comic book is the villain ship in that one.
Oh, okay.
So if you actually are like, I want to see what this ship looks like, just next time you're in the shop, just pick up the first volume of Poe Dameron and go, oh, the Carrion Spike. That's it. Okay.
And on that, we're done for another week. Another week of comic books. No,
we can't get into the Star Wars topic, especially at the end of a show.
Star Wars just adds another hour to the podcast.
Yes.
Done.
No.
Done,
don't do it.
Move on.
Please don't make me do it.
Obi-Wan finale this week. Well, maybe it's good.
Don't make me do it, please.
Geekbox, I'm sure. Thank you all for listening to another wonderful episode of the Comic Conspiracy Podcast, especially our highest tier backers on Patreon. They are Joe Duff, Kelsey May, Craig Anderson at clearpathcoaches.com, Jimmy Rivera at the Social Forum Podcast, and Talon Bray. Thank you all very much for your continued support at patreon.com/Comic Conspiracy. Kick us a couple bucks over there. I always appreciate the support. You can go to comicconspiracypodcast.com and Apple Podcast to find all our previous episodes and anywhere else you pick up your podcasts. Head over to comicsconspiracy.biz to buy some stuff from us. We have been cranking out the sales items on there. I want to say hundreds, but at this point, we may be up to thousands of sale items on there. We're loading up our website, all sorts of random stuff.
Tons of omnibuses.
Tons of stuff on eBay as well. Just look up Comics Conspiracy. My web guys have been doing a good job of getting stuff loaded up there. Look, it may not be the greatest things you want, but it's cheap and on sale and neat, and it's a lot of random stuff. And we're going to get to Marvel and DC stuff eventually. Like, this is the goal, right? It's just there's so much to get through. This is a long process, but it's all up. ComicsConspiracy.biz. Head over to conspiratorBrock.com for all Brock stuff. All Brock's stuff. Brock's blog. Yeah. Brock's blog. Wanderers in the Fourth Dimension podcast. That's Charlie's Doctor Who podcast. More important than us, I guess. Kevin's weekly interview series Between the Panels at the Eisner-nominated fanbasepress.com.
You're only going to be,
maybe we'll be there in the audience.
Yeah. No, what do you mean maybe? So we're going to be there, dude. Stop.
So when Comics Journal wins, boo!
and whoever's going to win the retailer,
we'll start booing.
Well, I think Anna's up again for Elusive again this year.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
So if they win, we can cheer them on.
Yeah. And go to leannehill.com. It's my wife Leanne's website. Etsy.com/shop/LeanneHill art for all her artwork that you can buy from her, prints and commissions. Head over to Twitter. Say hello to all of us on there. Ryan Higgins, Ryan, that is me. Brock is Brock Sager. Toby is Toby XI. Charlie is Insanity and Chaos. The store. Oh, sorry. Kevin is that Kevin Sharp. The store is Comics Con Store. And don't forget to listen to Geekbox. New episode next week. And Manga Machinations. Thank you all very much. We'll see you next week.